I want to cover some of the basics of Tai Chi, mainly Tai Chi posture, feet alignment, integrated with Tai Chi principles. So some of you already know Tai Chi and maybe can accomplish the sequence and can do a pretty good job. But what I want to do is kind of move you back a little bit, give you a little bit more background and support in your movements so that you will be better acquainted with your body, how to use gravity as your friend, and then move in a way that your body can most efficiently and safely make those movements. But when I talk about this, it applies to Tai Chi, but then again, we can extrapolate to say that whatever elements you learn and make your body do, they can be practical uses in everyday activities. Okay? So the form that I teach is Yang style. Yang, Y-A-N-G, sometimes referred to as Yang, which is the same thing. It is the most popular style in the world, mainly because it is very soft, it's round, it's flowing, it's non-stop, it's gentle, continuous, rather than something more abrupt and forceful and angular, okay? So this is the style. The principles and what I'm going to try to provide you can apply to almost all styles of Tai Chi. Okay? So the first off, I want to go over Tai Chi posture. Okay, Tai Chi posture. What is Tai Chi posture? There are about 8 elements, okay, and they all kind of roll into each other. If you have one element, most likely the second one will be able to be naturally followed through, etc. So the main element is that our head is erect, okay? Erect in a way that we're not like a soldier where we're stiff and our vision is just straight out and our chin is parallel to the ground. It's not that way. So it's a good image is like a marionette. We are puppets. And with a puppet, the head is straight up, it's centered. There is a string that's dangling our whole body, keeping our head erect. That string or silk silver thread that's often used in Tai Chi is really important in that it goes through the midpoint of our skull, through the midpoint of our chest, through 2 inches below our navel in a straight angle or direction. The 3 points are important in Tai Chi in that they are our energy points, often referred to as our Dan Tian. So if you can imagine yourself drilled through the center, you can find yourself very erect. You could also find yourself very centered in that the distribution of weight is equal. You're never favoring your right, never favoring your left, but at all times, gravity takes care of us. So that line of our silk silver thread, danten, goes straight through us. Our vision is not straight out with our chin parallel to the ground. Our chin takes a slight dip down, not like this, but a slight dip down, but our vision is still straight out, but not at a high point because our chin is not parallel to the ground. So we're never stiff as a soldier, but we are relaxed in that our chin now takes a little slight dip down. Our vision is always out into infinity. It's never concentrating on our feet or on our hands generally, okay? So as a result of our chin dipping down, and we're like a marionette, we found that our chest now is relaxed. It's sort of dipped inwards rather than flat. So as I'm describing and talking to you, I hope that you can feel what I'm feeling or talking about, and that's a way of getting into good Tai Chi posture. Okay? So chin slightly down, glance out into infinity, chest slightly dipped inward. As a result, our butt is now tucked under rather than straight and rather than protruding all the time. So that's the posture. As a result, you found that, wow, these shoulders are now not stiff. Okay, raise them up, raise your shoulders up. They're not that way. That's not relaxing. So you're going to drop them down. As a result, you found that your finger, maybe your middle finger, glided to the side seam of your pants. That's where it should be, okay? Not here, not behind, not up, but down, okay? So what do we have now? Chin, chest, butt. What about our knees? Knees play a big part in our movements, but knees have to be used correctly. So the knees now, oftentimes you see in movements, the knees are bent or the knees are stretched out, contracted, expanded, etc. But in the beginning, when we create Tai Chi posture, it's just relaxed. There's no energy or movement yet developed, so the knees cannot show that there has been some movement. So the knees are not locked in meaning straight out, stiff as a board, but just kind of relaxed. I know you can't see it, but you could probably feel it, okay? What else? Okay, so that's our posture. And then what about our mind? Because you know that Tai Chi is both a physical and mental discipline. Our mind is relaxed, but how do you relax it? What you can do, a good suggestion is that the mind creates an image of something in nature, image of an experience that's very positive, and that's the image you try to recreate or have in mind all the time. So yes, we can hear the airplane, yes, we can hear the cars, traffic, birds, and everything. That's nature, that's the environment. But what we try to do is not let those abrupt noises or sounds affect us, but we keep into that image, okay? We'll do the 10 form through, and let's see how well we can keep our Tai Chi posture. Then from there, we'll take off on alignment, okay? Yep.
Everybody try to get away from locking the knees. You should have a little bit of feeling like things that you relax, but not bending the knees. Right?
Okay, we'll cover, Ken has a good suggestion, okay? But remember, everybody talks about locking knee and don't do that, but even locking your elbow. So what do we mean? If you can do it with me, if you can put your arm out and lock this elbow, lock this joint, it's very stiff, but what you need to do is dip that elbow down a little bit in so that there's a relaxation. And the reason for that is that once you lock any joint, the energy within your body, the chi, stagnates. It cannot flow. So the premise is you keep everything open, keep the channels open, okay? All right, so what I'm gonna do is do the 10 with you, Yang 10 form. Our goal now is try to remember that we are a marionette. So if you can put your finger up, like I have, your pointing finger, this is the alignment of your spine. So when we do Tai Chi, your spine can never dip forward, go backwards, or lean to either side. This is the safety, this is the posture of Tai Chi, okay? All right, I'm gonna turn this way, okay? We're not looking so much for form, but we're looking for how can we do Tai Chi in the correct posture, okay? So good Tai Chi posture, okay, and you notice that my feet are not touching and they're stiff in, but they're slightly apart. I drop my shoulders, my middle finger is to the side seam of my pants, my shoulders are down, my head is erect because I'm obeying that silk silver thread. I have 50% of my weight on the left, 50 on the right, okay? I'm going to shift a little bit here, okay? My glance is way ahead, my chin is slightly down, my chest is sunken, my butt is tucked in, okay? Let's try to move it in a little bit, okay? Commencing form, 50-50. Shift weight to the right, 60, 70, 80, 90, on the toe of your left, off the ground, open, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 50-50. Hands rotate to the middle of the thighs as we take a deep breath in and elevate. At shoulder level, we reverse the process. Drop the shoulders, flex the knees. Make yourself small. Left hand remains in the middle, right hand rises up higher. We open the palms to the ceiling. Bring the back hand to the ear as we glance. We turn our head and neck. We meet the hands in the middle. We repulse the monkey by pushing forward, pulling back. Centered all the way to the hip. And right now you should feel 50-50 centered. The hand in the front is centering you. It's not waving out to the right or neither to the left. It's the center of your body. Other side. Open, raise the left, glance. Right hand, the palm is facing the ceiling. Glance as you bring the back hand or left hand to your ear. Turn your head and neck. Meet the hands in the middle as you pull back, push forward to repulse the monkey. You're centered. We can only move if there is a weightless foot. We're going to create a T stance to brush knee. T stance, set it up correctly. Brush knee. Step out, hand to the ear, turn the hips and waist, brush your knee. And then you ask yourself, am I still in good Tai Chi posture? Okay? Sit back, creating a weightless foot for the other side. Pivot that left heel, creating the weightless foot on the right, T stance. We're going to brush our knee. Bring the back hand to the ear, step out on an L, turn the hips and waist as if to brush your knee. Good Tai Chi posture. Are you still straight up? Is your knee not beyond your toe? And is your knee in line with your toe of the right foot? Sit back, sit down, twist step, pivot on the heel, hold your ball, center, create a weightless left foot, T stance. Part the wild horse's mane. Step out on your heel, turn the hips and waist, bottom hand advances to go up the horse's mane. Is your knee not beyond the left toe? Should be in line to keep good Tai Chi posture. Sit back, sit down, twist step, hold your ball on a T stance, out and to the side, bottom hand advances to go up the horse's mane. Cloud hands, flip the forward hand, join it with the back hand. Sit back, sit down, pivot. We're at 12 o'clock. We want to get out to the 9 o'clock. How are we going to do it? You're going to pivot on your left heel, hands go for the ride. Two things happen at 9. Flip the hands, join the feet. 12 o'clock. Getting out to the 3 o'clock by using our hips and waist. Two things happen. Flip the hands, open the feet. 12 o'clock. Here we go at 9 o'clock, only one thing happens. Flip the hands. Using our hips and waists to get out to the numbers or the extremities of the clock. At 3 o'clock, two things happen. We flip our hands, we close our feet. 12 o'clock, 9 o'clock, two things happen. Flip and open. At 3 o'clock, we're going to end cloud hands, so we only flip the hands. We shift our weight to the left foot and come up at 12 o'clock as a golden cockerel. We come down, we shift our weight to the right, we spiral, we use some spirals, shift our weight, ground ourselves, obey gravity, come up as another golden cockerel. Down, 50-50. This time we're going to gather the energy, we're going to center the energy, and we're going to kick out with our right safely by following with our eyes and following with our hands. Come down, center on the left, out left hand, out left foot, holding our ball. T-stance, we're going to ward off, okay? Step out, ward off. Push that guy out with your forearm. Turn your hips and waist and grasp the bird's tail. Look back, contact, but from the center of the body, you push the energy through. Separate the hands and roll back and sit down. Why? We need to push him up and we need to push him out. Sit back, sit down. Let's do the other side. Twist step. Center with a ball. Left hand on the bottom, left foot ready to go. Bottom hand advances, matches our foot. Sorry, step. Ward off, sorry. Turn the hips and waist to grasp the bird's tail. Turn, contact, but push only from the center. Separate, roll back, sit down, sink, spiral up, lunge forward, apparently closing. Sit back, sit down, twist step, bottom of your body matches the top, pivot out, top and bottom match, pivot in, off the ground, and you center yourself with the right hand inside the cross as you embrace the tiger. Bring the tiger out, rotate on the wrists. Bring the tiger one time closer to you, then push him away. Separate your hands, drop your shoulders, make yourself small. Wrap around, up on the heel, off the ground, as you now close your form. Then you ask yourself, am I still in Tai Chi posture? Okay? Now, at this point when you close, you shouldn't have to feel that, wow, I'm done with Tai Chi, therefore I can get out of Tai Chi posture and lock those knees. I think the beauty of learning a discipline such as Tai Chi, which is an art, is that all that we learn can be applied in a very useful way to everyday activities. So the posture that you finally feel is the best when you take a look at the elements of Tai Chi posture should then be slowly incorporated into all activities and just the way that you carry yourself. Okay. So I kind of glanced at you and it looked pretty good, okay? And I know that you're here because you're our beginners, and that's very good. So I just want to remind you and share with you the premise in which you need to come out a little bit more, okay? And over time, your body will adapt to it. But as long as you know that if this is a T stance, the L stance does not come straight out, but it takes a out and to the side. It takes a out and to the side. It does not come just out. And the premise is, if you have a T and you have an L, you need the hips and waist movement, a span in which to turn. Okay, listen to that again. This is a T and this is an L correctly. Why do you need the foot or the heel out here? Because the hips and waist then have to have that room to turn to get into a bow stance. If you did not understand that and you said, this is a T and this is an L, you have no room to turn. You're going to put pressure on your knees, you're going to pressure on your joints, your hips and waist. You're not going to do Tai Chi. So therefore, you need to be very disciplined in your feet alignment. Once you are clear with it, the body just flows. The body just flows. All you need to do is say, I need to set up my upper body. If I know this is a T stance and this is an L stance, I set up my body, I turn. I do very little with my hands getting into the final position because the energy just takes me there. Okay, and this is one example of what I'm trying to promote. But in all movements, you can see that if we set it up correctly, the hands will get to where we want it to be through the movement of the hips and waist. Okay. So what I want to do now is do Yang Cheng form, but not looking for sequence. I'm not looking for a high kick, but I am looking for something that's safe where you're using the coordination of your mind and your body. So right offhand, I'm looking for shifting of weight. So in shifting of the weight, only the weightless foot can move. If only the weightless foot can move, then the other foot or opposite foot has to totally ground us, such as in commencing form. Commencing form, we're at 50-50, even distribution of weight. But once we decide to start, we have to tell our body and our mind, and through our mind, that only the weightless foot can shift. So how do we do that? So I'm going to turn this way, and whatever I say, you try to implement in your mind and then work it through your body. So we're at good Tai Chi posture. We're at 50-50, even distribution of weight. To commence, we need to shift all the weight to our right foot. 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 allows us then to open. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Hands rotate to the middle of the thighs as we take a deep breath in as we elevate both hands. At shoulder level, we reverse the process. We drop our shoulders, flex our knees, tuck our elbows, make ourselves small. Left hand remains in the center. Right hand rises up higher as we glance. We open the palms to the ceiling. We watch that right hand come to our ear. We turn our head and neck. We meet our hands in the middle. We slide back and push forward as if to repulse the monkey. Notice where my left hand is. It's sitting to the hip, to my waist and hip area. We're going to set up our other side now. Left hand rises higher as we glance. We open the center hand, palms up to the ceiling. We watch that back hand come to our ear as a glance. Turn our head and neck, meet the hands in the middle, and we slide. Okay, I want to go over it as a drill. Center, higher, glance. Ear, turn the head and neck, meet in the center, repulse of the monkey. Okay, you drop that left hand. Center, glance, open, ear, turn, meet, slide. One more time, smooth it out. Higher, glance, ear, turn, meet, slide. center, higher, open, glance, ear, turn your head and neck, meet, slide. T-stance. How do you get into a T-stance? T-stance. One hand higher, one hand sort of to your shoulder, not pressing against your body. Still relaxed in that marionette where we're relaxed with our shoulders dropped. When we brush our knee, what do? 3 or more things. We multitask. The backhand comes to the ear. Let's warm that up. It just moves this way, using your core, not your upper hand or wrist. The other thing that happens as the left hand drops down, 2 things happen. Ear and hand, ear and hand. 3 things happen. Ear, hand, and heel. How? Ear, hand, heel. Again. Ear, hand, heel. From a T stance, we're getting into an L stance, and then we have to do something with a bow stance. The upper body matches the bottom, or vice versa. So how can we do 3 things happening together in a coordinated 1 unit way? Ear, hand, heel. Here we go. Ear, hand, and heel. Turn the hips and waist to brush your knee. Sit back, sit down on that imaginary stool, twist step with your left heel, T stance with your feet, setting it up correctly. We're going to brush our knee. What happens first? Or what can we do to warm up? The top hand comes to our ear. How? Top hand comes to the ear. One more time. What's the second thing that happens? The right hand comes down. It drops down. How? From the shoulder, it drops down. From the shoulder, it drops down. 2 things happen. Ear and hand. Ear and hand. One more time. Ear and hand. 3 things happen. Ear, hand, heel. Turn the hips and waist. Brush your knee. Sit back, sit down. Twist step. Set it up correctly. This is a drill. 3 things happen. Ear, hand, and heel. Turn the hips and waist. Brush your knee. Sit back, sit down. Twist step. Set it up correctly. Left hand higher, right hand to your shoulder. 3 things happen. Ear, hand, and heel. Turn the hips and waist. Brush your knee. Sit back, sit down. Twist step. T stance. L stance. Bow stance. Sit back, sit down. Twist step. T stance. L stance. Bow stance. Sit back, sit down. Twist step, hold your ball on a T stance. Where's your weight? Weight should be on your right. Left toe should be carrying maybe 1-2% of your weight, okay? All right, take a rest. All right, this is what you did on a forward position, okay? So I'm gonna do 3 movements that we just covered. I'm in good Tai Chi posture. My shoulders are dropped. My chin is slightly down, not straight to the parallel to the ground, but slightly dipped down. My glance is way out into infinity. I'm ready to start with 50-50. I think through, how am I going to commence? I shift my weight to the right to create 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. And I come down on a 50-50. My hands rotate to the middle of the thighs. I take a deep breath in as I elevate. At shoulder level, I make myself small. I drop my shoulders, I flex my knees, I tuck my elbows down. My left hand stays in the center. My right hand rises up higher. Okay, and I open the center or left hand to the ceiling. So the thing is, I'm catching a ball from the ceiling. I can't catch a ball from the ceiling with my center or left hand palms down, okay? So in this way, I'm centering myself. I'm putting my energy to compact and in balance, not to the left, not to the right, but in the center of your body. Whereas the right hand now rises up. When I say glance at the back hand, I don't mean for you to go this way. So the hand is never this way, but the hand is sorta to the side, maybe slightly further back, and you can see it. Not down, not super high, but maybe about forehead high. As I glance, I bring that back hand to my ear. I turn my head and neck. I meet the hands in the middle. That gives me the ticket, so to speak, to slide, as if to repulse the monkey. So how do we do that? Here, ear as you glance, turn the head and neck, meet the hands, then pull back, push forward at the same time. Center, higher, glance, open the front to the ceiling, so the palms is up. Glance and look at the left hand. Turn the head and neck, meet in the center, and slide. Weight heavily on the 2 feet. Again, center, higher, glance, open, ear, turn, meet, push, forward, pull back. Center, higher, glance, open that right hand, bring it to the ear, turn the head and neck, meet in the center, slide. T-stance. Set it up correctly. Left hand towards your shoulder, right hand up higher. We're going to multitask. Ear, hand, and heel. How? Ear, hand, heel. All together. Ear, heel, hand. Turn the hips and waist. Brush your knee. Sit back, sit down on that imaginary stool, twist, step. T-stance, set it up correctly. Multitask, ear, hand, and heel. Turn the hips and waist, brush your knee. Then ask yourself, are you in good Tai Chi posture? Is your knee not beyond your toe? Is your left or back knee not locked, but straight as an arrow? Then you can sit back and you can sit down on that imaginary stool to gain your weight so that you can alleviate the weight of the front foot to twist or pivot. Root down for safety and gravity. T-stance, set up your hands correctly. Glance at the back hand all together. Ear, hand, and heel. Turn the hips and waist. Brush your knee. So the right hand now should be sort of centering you, not to the side now, okay? Sit back, sit down, twist step, set it up correctly, all together. Ear, hand comes down, heel comes out. Turn the hips and waist, brush your knee. I'm going to move on, sit back, sit down, twist step, hold your ball on a T-stance. At this point, no tension, everything relaxed. Weighted on the right. Insubstantial foot on the left is going to come out on an L. The pattern is T, elbow. We're going to part the wild horse's mane. The bottom hand advances, so we know that the left hand is on the bottom, the left foot is the insubstantial, therefore we're holding our ball correctly. Here we go, T stance, take an L stance, bottom hand advances to go up the horse's mane. Sit back, sit down, twist step, T stance holding your ball, right foot is insubstantial, right hand is on the bottom. Step out on an L, bottom hand advances as you turn your hips and waist, go up the horse's mane. Sit back, sit down, twist step, T stance, L stance, bottom hand advances, turn the hips and waist, power that movement to go up the horse's mane. Sit back, sit down, twist step, T stance, L stance, bottom hand advances to go up the horse's mane. Sit back, sit down, twist step. Hold your ball on a T stance. Okay, so very good. Okay, so as you can see, there's some organization, there's some plan, there's some rhyme or reason to how we move. But you also have figured out that if your hands, your neck, your upper body is set up correctly, the movements in Tai Chi are mind-driven through the hips and waist. If the hips and waist don't do anything, then the Tai Chi movements are not true, okay, are not true to form. Oftentimes I use the image of the hands holding a ball. So what do I mean by that? Or catching a ball. So when you part the wild horse's mane, everybody's saying, well, we can part it really well because all we have to do is make sure that the forward hand is flares out. But that's really not true because in Tai Chi we're trying to use our body in the most efficient way. So if something comes out, something has to stay back to counterbalance or to keep your balance or keep your posture erect. So we're going to look at, to me, both of them are dominant hands, or both are working together in coordination. So when one hand comes out, the other hand sits to the side of your body, sits to the side. Can't sit in the front, it has to sit to the side, as if it were holding a ball to the side of your hip. So over time, the hands will become soft, but maybe right now in the beginning, it's sweaty and it's pretty stiff. But as long as you know that the hand sits to the side rather than sits here, it sits to the side, then you have a little counterbalance, okay? So what I teach you is very, I want to say very basic, very elementary. But we're stable, so I have the advantage of showing you a stance and saying, this is where it specifically sits, or what it specifically does. But Tai Chi being a dance, okay, being a dance and a meditative dance in motion, not all the time will you see it exactly where your teacher taught you it should be. But for our purposes, since I believe we're not all going to be performers, we need to know specifics. But once you're in motion, you have that liberty to wiggle a little bit. Okay, but basically, if you learn posture and alignment quite well, then that will lead into the next part of your journey where you're more relaxed and things flow a little bit. flow a little bit easily. Okay, so we said that to part the wild horse's mane, I would have to step out and I would have to turn my hips and waist, and the other hand sits to the side as if it were holding a ball. If I'm this way, I come out, I turn my hips and waist, I center myself, and the ball is still held here as a counterbalance. What I try to also say is that when you part the wild horse's mane, you end up pretty much in the center of your body rather than short of the center or way off to the side. So can you see that if I did this or did this, I'm more apt to be in imbalance. So we always are looking for centering. We're also looking for balance, okay? In multitasking, it's not easy, but once you get it, you say, wow, you know, it's a big accomplishment, and it is, because I don't know of anything in our regular normal activities that we're multitasking in that formation. But those are only 3 things, but really there's much, much more going on. Your mind is active. You know, every little muscle is in concert with that movement. So that in itself is telling me that there are a lot of hidden suggestions or experiences that we have to uncover when we learn something like Tai Chi. And it's not going to come in a few minutes, but it's going to come over time with better understanding and better conditioning and better flow of energy. So that's why it's a lifelong journey. It's not something where if you took a 5-week course that you'd be proficient. Okay? All right. So any questions now? So I kind of glanced at you and it looked pretty good, okay? And I know that you're here because you're our beginners, and that's very good. So I just want to remind you and share with you the premise in which you need to come out a little bit more, okay? And over time, your body will adapt to it. But as long as you know that if this is a T stance, the L stance does not come straight out, but it takes a out and to the side. It takes a out and to the side. It does not come just out. And the premise is, if you have a T and you have an L, you need the hips and waist movement, a span in which to turn. Okay, listen to that again. This is a T and this is an L correctly. Why do you need the foot or the heel out here? Because the hips and waist then have to have that room to turn to get into a bow stance. If you did not understand that and you said, this is a T and this is an L, you have no room to turn. You're going to put pressure on your knees, you're going to pressure on your joints, your hips and waist. You're not going to do Tai Chi. So therefore, you need to be very disciplined in your feet alignment. Once you are clear with it, the body just flows. The body just flows. All you need to do is say, I need to set up my upper body. If I know this is a T stance and this is an L stance, I set up my body, I turn. I do very little with my hands getting into the final position because the energy just takes me there. Okay, and this is one example of what I'm trying to promote. But in all movements, you can see that if we set it up correctly, the hands will get to where we want it to be through the movement of the hips and waist, okay? So an important element in Tai Chi is martial arts. Tai Chi is based on martial arts. but it's now turned into a meditative motion. But to understand and to keep Tai Chi pure, the derivation of the movements should be, you should be acquainted with what the martial art movement, the derivative, or the root of that movement. So Ken was trying to say that in our movements, we are in the optimal position, that we have gravity on our side. We know where nature is best positioned for us before we move. But to take it one step more of understanding, every motion in Tai Chi is martial arts based. For instance, this is an easier one. We're holding our ball, we're centered our energy. When we step out, we forearm our opponent. We push him out only for that space that we need. But if we did not understand martial arts and how Tai Chi is derived, we'd push him this way, thinking that our hand needs to give a little bit more power and push him off. But the opposite is occurring. The opposite is that once I give up my Tai Chi posture, I'm going to give way to my opponent. I need to be stable. I need to be strong. I need to keep the power and not give him any more that he can capitalize on. So in Tai Chi, we don't teach you go beyond your toe and push off this way. We only need this distance, because once we push him out, which is the most powerful and strongest way we have, we can then now grab him, pull him down. But once we don't realize that we need to gather that energy and store it in our back foot, we're going to then be an easy prey. We don't start pushing him this way, but we turn, we rotate, then don't stop and push him out. Push him through the force of our centering. Wipe him out, pull him back down, and how are we going to get the strength? Right in here. We don't want to get our strength here because we can topple, or we can be an easier prey. We store that energy. Then we shove him up and we shove him out, only to a certain extent, because that's the power. That's your energy.